The Ouija board spelled my name, then burned. Hello, my name's Name. I am a paranormal investigator, and I'm here with Ghost Adventures. Tonight we are in Savannah, Georgia at the Sorrel Weed House. This house has an absolutely crazy history. That's cold. It was built in 1899 by William Hardin and his wife Mary Louise Washington. They had 2 daughters, 7-year-old Mary and 10-year-old Sally, who both passed away in this home. So they did everything they could to turn the home into like a memorial for their children. And then they had their 3rd daughter. But before she even came home from the hospital, Mary Louise passed away. So now this house is just filled with all of these ghosts. Now William Hardin, when he found out that his wife passed away, he really wanted to be with her. So he ended up passing away just 1 month after she did in the same house, making this what we call a death house. All 3 daughters and both parents are buried underneath this house. Now it's a bed and breakfast. I'm going to go ahead and get set up. Okay, so I have the ghost box right here. I have a spirit box, which is a radio that scans through frequencies very quickly. And sometimes spirits like to communicate through voices that come through old radios. Also have some video cameras set up around me. We have one here looking in towards the bed where I'll be sleeping, another one on the other side of the room. And then we have one outside the door looking in case anything happens when I walk in or out of the room. I have an EMF meter to detect any changes in electromagnetic fields, which can sometimes indicate a spirit's presence. I have a thermometer to see if there's any temperature fluctuations. And then I also have a flashlight, because sometimes spirits will interact with technology. I've seen it turn on by itself. I've seen it shine by itself. So I figured I would bring it along just in case. Okay, so I'm getting ready to lay down on the bed. I'm going to go ahead and put my flashlight under the blanket with me. I don't know what's going to happen tonight. I haven't been able to research much on this place. The only thing I do know is that there's a lot of ghost activity. I'm just going to go to sleep and see what happens. Alright, so I woke up about 20 minutes ago, and I've been sitting here waiting for something to happen, because I had the craziest dream. I dreamed that I was standing in front of the fireplace over there, and then all of a sudden the fire turned green and started coming towards me. And then I felt this like burning sensation all over my body, and then I woke up. And ever since then I've just been hearing this blood rushing sound. And now that I listen to it closer, it almost sounds like somebody screaming. And I'm not sure why I'm hearing this. Alright, so I've been sitting here for about an hour now, and I've heard a lot of footsteps above me. I've heard whispering. I couldn't make out what they were saying, but I definitely heard multiple voices. I also saw the fireplace turn green again, just like in my dream. And then the scariest part was that my blanket kept moving like somebody kept pulling it off of me. And then I would feel this freezing cold spot right here on the bed. I'm going to go ahead and show you guys. Right now the blanket's fine, but if I pull it back, there's this spot right here where it's ice cold. And I'm gone. Nah, go ahead and throw the blanket back over it just because I'm not really sure what's going on here. I mean, I'm assuming it's a spirit, but I'm not sure. Alright, so it's been about an hour and a half now. I've been hearing a lot of footsteps in the walls and in the floorboards. I've heard scratching. I've heard whispers, but nothing too crazy. Oh, but I almost forgot. I was just getting ready to tell you guys that the entire room started smelling like lavender, and I have no idea what that could be. So I think it's going to be easier if I start writing. I already asked a question, and I got an answer. It spelled my name. Okay, so it spelled out my first name, and then it started spelling out my last name, and then it just stopped. I have no idea what that means. Like, should I be scared? Should I leave? I don't know. It's been about 3 hours now. I've been hearing a lot of footsteps, and I keep seeing things like flash in my peripheral vision, and I don't know what it is. Alright, so it's been another hour since I wrote that last message. I've been trying to fall back asleep, but every time I close my eyes, I see these images. I see this little girl in a Victorian nightgown. She seems to be following me everywhere I go. Sometimes I see her standing in the corner and she seems to be watching me. Then I also see this man with a top hat and a cane. He looks like he's from the 1800s, and he keeps walking past me. Both of them seem to be friendly, but I'm just kind of scared at this point. Alright, so I just saw the little girl from earlier and she walked right past me, and then I heard her say, "Don't be scared." So I'm not sure if she's trying to comfort me or if she's trying to warn me. Alright, so I just got done with the craziest seance of my life. So I grabbed the Ouija board out of my bag. I laid it down on the bed and I asked the spirit, "Is anybody here trying to communicate with me?" And then immediately the planchette started moving across the board, and then it spelled out, "Yes." And then I asked, "Can you spell out your name?" And then it spelled out, "Mary." And then I said, "What's your name?" and then it spelled out Mary. I think I asked, "Are you trying to help me, or are you trying to harm me?" And then it spelled out help. And then it started shaking the entire bed, like I could feel the vibrations. And then it spelled out B. And then the planchette flew off the board and hit me in the face, and then the light started flickering. And then I heard this blood-rushing sound again. And then the fireplace turned green. And then I saw this figure standing in front of me. I swear to God, it looked exactly like the little girl from earlier, but it was transparent. And then she raised her hand, and then she disappeared. And then the fireplace went back to normal. Then the lights went back to normal. Then I looked back at the Ouija board, and it spelled out run. And then I picked it up, and it flipped out of my hands and landed on the floor. Then it spelled out burn. Then it flipped over again, and it landed on the windowsill. And then it spelled out help. And then the window opened by itself, and I saw this black cloud come out of it. Then I started freaking out. Then I ran into the bathroom and hid under the bed. And I swear to God, I heard the spirit say, "It's too late." Okay, so I've been hiding under this bed for about an hour now, and I haven't heard anything. I haven't seen anything. But I'm not sure how much longer I can stay under here. I mean, I gotta get out at some point. All right, so I finally got out from under the bed, and I decided to check on the cameras just to see if anything happened while I was gone. And I saw that the camera that was pointed towards the door was knocked over. And then I realized that the door was open. And I closed it and locked it when I went under the bed, so somebody or something came into this room, and then I started hearing footsteps near the door. So I started recording on my phone, just to see if I could catch whatever was doing this, and then I started hearing footsteps near the fireplace, and then the fireplace started turning green, and then heard this blood-rushing sound, and then the whole room started shaking, and then the lights started flickering, and then I saw this black cloud come out of the fireplace, and then I started running, and I tripped and fell, and then the cloud followed me, and then I started screaming. I ran to the bathroom, and I turned on the shower to try to get the cloud to go away. Then it made this noise, and then it vanished, and then the water turned ice cold, and then got out of the bathroom, and the hallway was pitch black, and then all of a sudden, the lights turned on, and I looked back at the bathroom, and the door was open, and I shut it and locked it when I went in. So I have no idea what's going on in this house, but I am terrified, and I want to leave. Hey guys, I'm here with Ghost Adventures. Tonight we investigated the Cyril Weed house, and it was one of our scariest investigations to date. From the moment I stepped foot into that house, I felt something negative, and I felt eyes on me, and throughout the night it just progressively got worse. There were spirits that were communicating with us through the Ouija board. We saw shadow figures. We heard footsteps. Saw the fireplace turn green. We heard the blood-rushing sound. I don't even want to know what that is. And then at the end, when I was trying to escape the house, I felt like there was a demonic presence behind me trying to chase me down. And I don't know. I'm not even gone. Nah, try to explain what happened, because I don't know if I believe it myself. But I'm just glad to be out of that house, and I'm never going back.